Wait for it. Wait for it. Who am I? You sure you want to know? Who am I?
It's the Trusty Sidekick podcast with your hosts, Jay Washington, Bobby Hill.
What's going on, everybody? We're back once again. It's another episode of the Trusty Sidekick podcast with me, your resident supervillain, Jay Washington.
And me, your resident hero, Bobby Hill.
What's going on, man? How you been?
I'm good, man. It's been fun. I've been out in California here for the last week or so.
Yes.
Well, you've been getting settled in as a new California resident.
I don't even know if settled in is the exact word. It's been weird. If anybody knows, a lot of times a lot of people go through housing situations before you get settled. So I'm going through that, but in the process of going through that, I've gotten pretty acclimated to a lot of the
couches
and comedy. It's been couches and comedy. That's gonna be the name of my next album.
Your next album's gonna be Couches and Comedy.
Couches and Comedy.
Jay Washington.
But nah, it's been fun, man. Shouts out to everybody who I've met. I've met a lot of celebrities that I've only watched in TV and film that I've had a chance to recently have conversations with. So it's super dope. Also, shouts out to my man Troy Conrad. I have to give him personal acknowledgement. He has been a great concierge and liaison.
Oh, wow. Look at you speaking French on the podcast.
Liaison.
That's the one French word you know.
Actually, no. I took French for 2 years in high school, but it was only my freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah, I took French for 2 years, too. That's about all I got very little French.
I got very little left. So, but Troy's been a good dude, man. Introduced me to a lot of people. So I've been able to do a lot, getting up at different clubs, different things to set. So, man, it's been fun. Ha Ha Comedy Club out in North Hollywood has been showing me a lot of love. Flappers showing love. I got the Laugh Factory coming up out here. Hopefully the Improv soon. So it's a lot of things. Everything's coming. I got a new agent. I got an LA agent. So, man, it's a lot of things have happened so quickly, and it's kind of dope.
Yeah, congratulations on the LA agent, of course.
Man,
congratulations on the success of the movie. Chirac is out. Chirac is still in theaters by the time you hear this podcast. Chirac will still be in theaters.
For another, maybe 2-3 weeks or so. Now, here's the thing, and it's not because the movie's doing low numbers, ladies and gentlemen, if you wonder why this movie goes out of theaters quickly. This is Amazon Studios' first full feature-length film. Okay, so they wanted to do a little theatrical run, see what happens. Then it's going to Amazon.com. Amazon Prime subscribers, I believe, will get first dibs on it, of course, and then that's the rest.
Yeah, and the movie's actually doing really well in theaters. It's not in a bunch of theaters, right? It's only in 300 or so theaters.
Yes.
And it's doing well per screen, or at least it was through the first weekend. I'm sure it's probably holding up just fine through weekend number 2.
For the first week, it did 3,500 per theater, which is...
That's big.
That's great numbers.
That's one of Roadside Attractions' biggest, I think it's their top 10.
Yes, it is.
That's pretty solid.
All the major movie critics love it. They've praised this movie. They say it's Spike Lee's best work, and especially because of the message that it has. So I'm glad to be a part of it, man.
That's awesome.
What's been going on with you?
Well, in a little bit less famous news, but I got accepted to the San Diego Comedy Festival, which is going on end of January. So I get to come back to LA for that and head down to San Diego and do that. Thank you very much. Which is cool. It's I did the World Series of Comedy a few years ago and just went as a wild card. And this is the first time I'll actually be heavily involved in the competition, all the goings on of everything going on through the weekend. So I'm excited about that. It made this trip out here worth it. I've been doing some shows out here. I did Ha Ha on Monday also, and have a few more things lined up. I'm doing an interesting show called Game of Tags coming up on the 19th, where they put together about 4 or 5 comics, and then each comic goes up and does their set, and then people just throw tags at it nonstop, and then they rotate and things like that. So it should be a fun show. I'm excited to do that. So I'm trying to make the most of my time out here.
I've had the chance and the pleasure of traveling to different scenes in stand-up, and one of the things I will credit the Los Angeles comedy scene for is the creative add-on elements. People really go out their way to help out, adding on to the talent, to help talent develop.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ideas for shows out here.
I mean, and even jokes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to just see. I mean, that's the thing. You kind of have to throw yourself into the fire of where it's hotter to get into the groove of learning what people who are really killing it out here are doing. Right? I
used to have this thing where I didn't like to too much watch comedy shows because I was so focused on me. And even at the point, when I started watching, I still was focused on, all right, let me see what I can do. And out here, it's like you're almost, for me personally, I'm forced to watch it because these are the people on the level I want to get to.
Absolutely.
So these are the people I want to see how they master the stage. And we watched one comic in particular. We've seen them together one night, and I've seen them 2 nights. And this comic completely destroyed. I'll say him by name. Theo Von. If you've never
You sound like you're going to keep that a secret. This comic destroyed, but I'm not going to tell you who he is.
Because, some people will...
Good luck finding him on your own, motherfuckers.
Because, some people want to be like, you just don't want to put my name out there too. I mean, there's a lot of people who kill, but I watched, for me, as a high energy and the way stuff is delivered and put together.
He's hilarious.
He's hilarious, and he knows how to take every single bit out of a joke, and I loved it so much.
Well,
man.
What's funny is, I lived out here for 4 years, so between 2008 and 2012, he was out here then, and he was doing shows then, but he wasn't where he is now, and it's just one of those reminders of, like, how you can move forward if you just stay strong on what you're trying to get done.
Yeah, I believe so,
It's
man.
crazy. He's put a lot of effort in it. It looks like it's paying off, which is cool.
Yeah, but we've been working, you and I both, we got a chance to meet a lot of great talent out here so far in just a short amount of time. And it's only going to keep going higher and getting better. So, we'll talk about that in the later episodes of the podcast, man.
Speaking of going higher and getting better,
I like that transition.
I'm the transition guy, man.
You've been around me a lot since I've been doing radio. You've been around me. Speaking of getting higher and going better, this brings us to our next topic.
I've done a podcast or two in my lifetime before we started this. But speaking about going higher and better, we've got a 3rd installment of a movie that's coming out, and it's a good series. The current run of the X-Men movies that have been put out by Fox have been really, really good.
It's a great revamp, I will say. You know what? This is what they did. If you have not yet to see X-Men Days of Future Past, you are doing yourself a major disjustice. They basically told you those original X-Men movies never happened.
Right.
Days of Future Past wiped the slate clean on the first
eliminated all that.
It eliminated all
go right back into it now, which is cool.
Right. So the trailer for X-Men Apocalypse dropped. And you know what? I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it's weird. In pictures, Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse does not look good.
Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse looked like Ivan Ooze from the first Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, in pictures, it does not translate. And just like in a still picture, it doesn't translate well.
Well, I think the still pictures that we did see were before all of the final post-production editing.
Right. I'm sure there's some CGI, there's some filtering done, some photo, there's some stuff done to make him look more grim. Which,
of course.
He looks legit grim in this movie.
Only thing he's missing to me is, again, everybody who loves the X-Men cartoons, Apocalypse's voice.
Yeah.
Is just that one thing on top of Apocalypse.
From characters, of course, in different comic book companies, Darkseid, Apocalypse, Thanos. You expect a different level of voice to that.
And Apocalypse has that I am the beginning and the end. And
you think about that though, like the idea that there could be a bad guy with a squeaky voice, like a big bad. Like, what is it about becoming a big bad guy that makes your voice get so deep and gravelly?
Because your testosterone goes to your muscles and none of your testicles, so you don't have that there. So now you don't have no balls, so now your voice can't drop, your balls can't drop, your voice can't get deep. So now you're like, I'm gonna rule the world, and you're like, get your big soft ass out of here. So, but you know what? I liked it.
Good revelations from the trailer. What are some of the things that you saw in the trailer that you really
The Four
liked?
Horsemen are unique.
Yeah.
Magneto, Storm, Psylocke, and Warren Worthington III, the Archangel.
Actually, Caliban is one of the people who's involved in there for a minute, but I'm not sure
if it's a horseman or whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
And the way they're telling the story of Apocalypse is they were talking. I liked one of the things Maureen McTaggart is telling to Charles Xavier. Well, they used to tell stories in the Bible of the end of the world and before Apocalypse.
Yeah.
It was like maybe the Bible got the story from him. I was like, that is dope.
I like how they lay it. They layer it really. They've been layering it really well for this. I like the setup with this. I like that Mystique is back and actually working with the X-Men.
Yes,
because it sets up. I mean, the idea of if you're a fan who's been following, if you watched the original movies, there's a deeper history between Mystique and the X-Men X-Men that these past couple of movies and now this third movie have kind of fleshed out about where her place really stands with the X-Men.
I like the fact that after it all goes said and done, Xavier goes bald finally.
Yeah.
That was now what they did keep a secret. They did keep secret out the trailer, which a lot of people, if you've been following the different websites, the blogs, we haven't talked about it much because we didn't talk about it till it was brought out. Mm-hmm. Hugh Jackman is in this movie.
Hugh Jackman is in this movie, but they just recently brought him in, so I'm sure they're not done with everything they're doing with him.
Of course not. They're not fully, but they needed. They said he said originally he wasn't going to do it.
He was going to be done.
He was done.
Old Man Logan was the only thing I think he was looking to do.
But now he's in this one. So again, X-Men Apocalypse comes out May 2016.
It's going to be good.
First trip.
It's going to be good.
And the best.
I think it's whack that they have the greatest mutant villain, which is to me is Apocalypse, and the weakest X-Men, which is Jubilee, in the same movie. It's like you're really calling out all the stops.
Yeah. I like the introduction of Jean Grey too.
I like Jean Grey in there. You're going to see Cyclops in this movie.
My problem is, you see Cyclops. My problem though is, not a problem. My question is, what level Jean Grey do we see?
We're going to see an early Jean Grey. I mean, she foretells the coming of the end of the world, but I don't know if her powers are fully realized. She's still learning right now.
Well, remember her powers. If you know the story of Jean Grey from the comic books and everything, she knows of her power. They know her powers as a kid,
early
but they
on.
have to train her to be like, yo, you can't go that far
because she is wild early.
Yeah,
I mean, her ability is wild early.
It's like Leah Fledgling. So, Fledgling, another big word.
Look at you with those big words. I think the big undercurrent story in this movie is going to be Quicksilver and Magneto. I think that's the big
father-son. Yes,
because Magneto is going to be one of the four horsemen. Quicksilver is obviously going to be fighting them, and they're a father and son. I think that's really going to be a thing that kind of makes a turn for what happens as far as this movie comes apart.
Yeah, we'll see exactly how that plays out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's switch gears. We talked about the X-Men. We talked about the mutants, and let's go to shows that can't use the word.
Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
The Inhumans.
The Inhumans, who are definitely not mutants. They are definitely from another... They're definitely started from a being that comes from another planet, and they start this one off by being on another planet. This is a show called Maveth, which means death.
Yes.
And there is some of it in this show. There's some death going on in this show big time.
It's not a lot. I mean, it's a lot.
Lash kills 12 Inhumans in the show.
Yeah, Lash. First of all, Blair Underwood as Lash is like one of the dopest things ever. Because first of all, you have to remember, he's an Inhuman who don't like Inhumans.
Right.
He hates Inhumans.
Also, taking a guy who's as attractive as a man, I'm confident enough to say that, as Blair Underwood, and turning him to something that looks like Lash is like, good job.
Good job.
A nice way. I like that subtle hint of just, I like being able to tell people, like, look it, that guy is as attractive as he is. He still turns into a killing machine. They like that. That's
Here's
a good
the thing,
deal.
though. If you saw the episode, they go to a castle run by Hydra, and which is sponsored, which is set up through Malik and Ward. They found a way to get to the portal to bring back the Creel.
Which I like. They go down to this new planet, and the first thing they see on this new planet is a sculpture of an octopus, just confirming that octopuses are from another world.
That's all it is. Well, they kept saying over the years that the original alien symbol is what turned into Hydra. Right. When you turn it upside down. But yeah, octopuses are from another world. So basically, every octopus in the ocean is an alien.
I believe that. I believe that to be true.
Yeah, because no other creature has tentacles with suction cups and shoots out ink. I know we're the squid, but they're the same goddamn family.
So basically, Ward's job on this planet is to go down, find the Kree, find whatever this Hydra starting being is, and bring it back through with all the surviving beings on that planet that can help fight this war for Hydra, apparently. Now, they bring Fitz with them to go down there. He doesn't want to be down there, but Fitz is hoping to find Will, who's been stuck on the planet forever, who was fucking Simmons when he was down there.
Right.
And Fitz is tasked with this deal of being in love with Simmons and having to go save...
the dude who's blowing Simmons back out.
Right. And so he has to go, and of course Ward makes him go down there, so it doesn't help. Coulson goes diving through the portal at the end of the last episode, and is now looking for him. I love it though. Guess what we get? Guess what we get as part of that though? We get a return of Constance Zimmer, and I love Constance Zimmer.
In a flash, yes.
Constance Zimmer in a flashback. I like that.
I'm gonna tell you something. When I saw the opening credits, I was like, Constance Zimmer. I was like, did she get shot in the throat?
Oh, she's back. I was so happy.
Well, she got shot in the throat.
And then he wakes up and he's on this other planet, and he goes looking.
He's only looking now. Here's here's the thing. Coulson goes through the portal. He's not looking for Simmons. He's only looking for Ward.
He doesn't give a fuck about Simmons.
He's only looking for Ward. And he finds him. And when he finds him, pops his ass off. Was it off? Was it a leg?
Oh, my God. It's great. Well, at that point, they found out that Fitz has realized that Will is not legit, right? Fitz has realized that Will is not Will. Will's been taken over by whatever this beast is. Will becomes way too aware of the city and the civilizations that used to live there.
Yeah.
And Fitz realizes that this guy's got way too much knowledge for a guy who wasn't around then.
Well, he noticed all that. He noticed it a little bit, but it was confirmed when he looked at his wound.
Right. When he looked at the wound and it was not a normal human leg wound. It was just like...
all the way to the bone?
Yeah. You shouldn't just be walking around on a bone leg.
Yeah, bro, you shouldn't be walking around.
And while that's happening, Ward and Coulson are fighting up at the top. And Coulson gets the best of him, shoots him a couple times, and then puts his hand on his chest. And with his cyborg hand, crushes the shit out of his chest.
Heart.
Which is a great way to kill somebody, by the way. If you can do it, kill somebody.
Then leaves the hand there.
Oh, my God. It was so great.
Leaves the hand to say... it's done.
It was so great. First of all, Will had been growing because he had, I don't know if you watched the episode, he's got on a tight-ass shirt. He's bursting through the buttons of his shirt.
Well, you can't.
How you going to be on a strand on a planet with an alien bug in you and you trying to burst through a shirt?
You know what? Here's the thing I love with TV shows. Here's the part where continuity falls off. And I know this is myself, somebody got to tell the actors, look, I understand you want to work out, but you got to do us a favor.
You got to fit wardrobe, fam.
Not even that. You got to be believable. Like, what the fuck were you bench pressing on an alien planet?
Right. How are you in shape still on this? Oh, I'm what Coulson refers to as Tatooine, which is a nice Disney reference.
It sounds
all
right.
These Disney properties.
Oh, they threw that in.
A Marvel show on ABC. We're going to mention Disney in here somewhere. At some point, we're going to get this in.
There was a Tinder reference episode prior with the episode of the episode where Constance Zimmer got shot. It was a Tinder reference. He's like, you would swipe right. And he was like, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I think the B plot in this show that I thought was really good was the stuff going on with Mac as the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? They're going in for their rescue mission. You know who's friggin' hilarious in this episode? The guy who plays Joey Gutierrez.
Oh my God.
That character.
When he realizes he's an inhuman and has the ability to melt bullets.
That is so hilarious, dude. He has so many funny lines in that show. It's so funny. The guy is played by Juan Pablo Raba, which if you don't know is Pablo Escobar's brother on the show Narcos.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, that's who that guy is. Joey doesn't even know what to call his ability. He doesn't know. He has no idea what to call his ability.
He's just like, this is it. Oh yeah, I can melt bullets.
It's so funny. Mac refers to the team as Team Power Rangers at one point where they're trying to go through, which is hilarious. I think that was hilarious. There's one point where they're like Mac's giving off all the orders of stuff they need to do, and Joey goes, "Are we rescuing Inhumans or fighting Hydra or rescuing Coulson? I'm just trying to figure out how this whole thing works." And then Lance goes, "This is how S.H.I.E.L.D. works.
This is how this works."
He's hilarious the whole episode. The part where he finds out that he's bulletproof is hilarious. The whole thing is great, man.
It's been you know what? Again, I've said this to previous episodes, and I'll continue to say this. For a show that started out extremely slow, that everybody was like, it's not going to make it to season 2.
Yeah.
It's not going to make it to season 2. It has built up into its own entity.
The level of plot is as good as any sci-fi detective superpowered secret organization of evil show that you're gonna find. I mean,
then on top of that, you don't even need the fact that this show is the conduit between other films.
Right. It's still a low line buzz of what's tying together everything that's going on.
But it stands alone on its own.
Easily. It can easily be its own show and never have any other heroes show up, and it fits everything that's going on. It would work with all of those things with no problem.
So let's switch gears onto our next Marvel thing. You know, we happened to do a couple of episodes, but I finally got you to finish the damn
I got through
show.
Jessica Jones. I know people like to binge watch. I like to binge watch too, but I want to draw you guys out for a few episodes on Jessica Jones. I finally got to the end of it.
Bobby got to the end.
Sexism is dead. Jessica Jones has won. Sexism isn't dead, sadly enough. But Jessica, I mean...
So what did you think after watching the whole thing?
Here's what I think. I think that it is a pretty awesome thing that we're at a time where you can make a show like that has such subtle metaphors and analogies for what really happens in certain relationships between men and women. Mm-hmm. So much of what goes on between those guys, between David Tennant's character and between Kristen Ritter's character, is so emblematic of what happens in certain relationships.
Ooh, emblematic.
I know, you like
Yeah.
that? The lack of people who want to believe a woman who's been hurt. The lack of people who want to question a guy who's, just trying to show how much he quote unquote loves a woman.
Which was
the crazy
that's what I was
shit
waiting.
that a guy does.
That's what I was waiting on you to see.
Being in love.
That's what I was waiting on you to see. When he did the declaration of love.
Yeah, the fact that this whole thing has been about a declaration of love.
It's been I did this because I love you.
This is all about him loving her and not understanding
what real love is. Because from the time he was a kid, since his parents tried to help him, he's been controlling pretty much everything that's going on. It edges on a tender moment for him. Not when they're showing the video of him, the first time, but there's a tender moment when they're standing in the house and he goes, do you understand what it's like to never really know when I tell somebody something, whether they're doing it because they want to or it's because
I'm making them to.
Right.
Or making them do it. And that is one of those things where it's kind of like, that is, and in no way to try and turn this into a thing where I'm trying to defend men over the situation, but that is a thing that happens subtly with some guys in situations where there's a point where they go, I didn't realize that I wasn't allowed to do these things.
Right, I didn't know.
I wasn't allowed to say these things.
He's basically saying, I didn't learn the definition of right from wrong. Because he didn't.
Right.
Now, if you're not familiar, first of all, with who the bad guy is, because in the comic books, he has a completely different look.
Yeah.
Okay. The Purple Man, he has an accident that turns his skin purple.
Right.
But what they did with this is just made him dressed in purple.
Right, until the very end when he gets the injection from his dad. As he gets angry, if you notice, his whole face veins up in purple.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was like, now it's really popping now.
I'm glad, but I'm upset that they killed him because he's her biggest antagonist.
Right.
So it's like
for now.
Yeah, especially when it comes to everything else. Here was one of the most funniest parts, most ironic parts ever to me. So, for the longest, you find out that Kilgrave had been controlling Luke Cage.
Right.
Now, he did the part where he told him, blow up your bar and make sure Jessica sees it, okay? He blows up the bar with himself inside, walks out. Jessica asks him, does he know about your skin? No. So good. What you've done is done. Your hole's broken.
Right.
He hops on the bike and puts a helmet on.
Right.
Bruh.
Why are you wearing a helmet, dog?
You don't need a helmet at this moment, bro. You just blew your damn self the fuck up. Like, you don't...
I think you're good on a helmet at this point, I think in an early episode he says something about being the law, but, I mean, your bar...
No, he does say it's the law.
But your bar just blew up, so who gives a shit?
With you in it!
With you in it. Maybe safety isn't the thing you should be most concerned about.
I'm sorry. I'm just... Again, I'm comfortable in my sexuality to say this. Any person that blows up in a bar in a fire, your clothes should have burned off.
There should be some burnt clothing.
He had, like, tethers and tattered.
Yeah, he was okay.
One of the other best suggestions, when they put him in the room and when Jerry decides to get him out.
Right.
And she cut the wire to fail safe and all this.
Yeah.
When he breaks out, he tells Trish, put a bullet in your head, Patsy. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. But I love the way the director showed how his power of suggestion works. Because she tried to pull the trigger and no bullets were in there.
And so she's picking up bullets and trying to slam them
into her head.
Slam them into her. And it took Jessica sitting down and putting it into her mouth and
close mouth.
And going, okay, there
you have a bullet in your head.
You've done it, okay?
You good.
I'd really like. Since we're recording this, the Golden Globe nominations have come out, SAG Award nominations have come out. I feel it's a disservice that nothing from this show got any type of recognition.
Here's the problem.
I know there's a lot of Netflix shows that are getting recognized.
Well, they've always said, besides Heath Ledger, because everybody has to remember, if Heath Ledger would not have died, he would have never gotten that nomination. Okay, let's just.
I don't know, man. That was a dope ass performance.
It was.
That was an amazing performance.
Jack Nicholson could have got it too. For that day and age.
Maybe.
But they don't want to give the comic book renditions their justice.
Right.
So that becomes a small problem.
Yeah, I mean, still, you're talking about. I mean, now we're talking about a television show, and I think when they first announced Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones, I was not very excited. So far, the work I mean, it's not that I thought that she was necessarily bad as an actress. I was just unsure of her ability to carry a show, because she'd always. I mean, I saw her in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I saw her in Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, and I saw her as the bee in Apartment 23 and not as this woman who could play this other character. And she wowed the shit out of me. I mean, her being able to hold her own in scenes with Mike Coulter, who is just a dominating presence on the screen. I thought she was outstanding. And also with David Tennant. I mean, David Tennant's a world-class actor. I mean, he's a killer. And for her to be able to hold her own with him and really just shine and carry a series, I thought she was outstanding. I'm super excited.
Your thoughts about Simpson, a.k.a. Nuke?
I like the way they grounded the powers in this series with realistic things, like with Kilgrave getting his powers from his parents and the fact that it was a virus.
Yes,
I like the fact that Kozlov is involved and the whole red pill, blue pill, white pill thing. I thought that was outstanding. I like where it's going.
Everybody wants to keep trying to recreate the super soldiers.
And it's fun, and I love how there's like variations and offshoots, because once that genie's out of the bottle, then every scientist that works in that field at all is creating something that gives a variation of that, right? Like, because that's what would happen. If you found out that there was a super soldier serum in the 1940s and it got blown to bits, but here are some ideas about what happened, every scientist who works in that field will be trying to create something like that from then on. That's exactly what would happen.
So I did some research, and I had to, I want to find out about them. I had to research on some of the Easter eggs in the movie.
Right.
I mean, in the series.
Yeah.
Of course, we find out, the Easter egg with the costume, with the name Jewel.
Right.
With the Sweet Christmas.
Yep.
Things like that. Did you notice the Easter egg with Simpson, though?
Other than the red, white, and blue thing, I didn't notice that. What?
The 2 heart monitors.
No.
When he's in the hospital the first time, he has 2 heart monitors because he has 2 hearts.
Right.
He has 2 heart monitors.
That's solid. Yeah, I didn't catch that. There's so many good things. I mean, I'm obviously gonna have to go back through and watch the series again, because that's how much dork I am.
I'll tell you what I am upset about.
What's that?
But I understand why they did it. I get it. There was not one Daredevil reference.
There was a Daredevil reference.
No, I mean,
the night nurse references him.
she went without referencing him directly.
Right, she doesn't say him, but at one point they're having a conversation in the apartment.
She says,
and she's like, "Yeah, I've got a friend who does things like this too." And she's like, "Well, how does he feel about it?" And she goes, "He questions everything he does. Everything is he walks through all those things." But it would have been nice to see him
or hear his name.
I would like to see a build up for year 2 of that, but
they're right around the corner.
I know, but maybe she just started dealing with him. You know what I mean? Like, maybe the events of Jessica Jones.
But we did say, what if these are running
simultaneously?
That was the word. I was like, why is it concurrent? No,
or within a couple weeks of each other. You know what I mean? Maybe she met Daredevil like a few weeks ago, and now she's what I mean?
Jessica Jones.
She's just meeting her, and she's like, oh shit, because it's kind of started to explode all together, right? All these events are kind of blowing up all together.
Ever since the incident,
and now there's Terrigen crystals out there that is a part of every universe, right? So
because now that's how you're creating Inhumans.
Now you're creating Inhumans, so those are all over the place.
Which is IGH.
Which is
IGH is a part of the ATCU.
Yep.
In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's everything.
I love how it's. I mean, listen. If you're gonna try and look to a company that knows how to put some shit together, Marvel knows how to run continuity on a storyline.
Well, you have to give credit to one director in particular.
Yes.
Josh Whedon.
I know.
Josh Whedon is the consultant for everything.
And his brother Jed. His brother Jed is huge.
They are great big consultants for everything, where they're like, listen, this has to go along these lines because we have everything is going together.
Right.
So it's great for that. But overall, you think you were pleased with the series?
I really liked it. I thought that, again, I think Marvel's ability to go from something as grand and large as Avengers Age of Ultron and where that series is going with Infinity War and all that stuff, to bring it down to such a grounded level with Jessica Jones, where there's really, I mean, you know, every episode has some superpower stuff going on in it, but it's such a mild part of what's actually of the story that's going on.
Right,
and it really lets people know, like, what do you know, regardless of what you may be looking for in a series, drama, fun, entertainment, you know, being scared, you can find a thing in Marvel that you can get into and enjoy that, which I think is pretty awesome.
You're gonna get all that with Marvel. Again, the fact, like you said, the fact that they make the superhero abilities are man-made for most.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. I love DC for what DC is, but one of the things I've always liked about Marvel is their heroes usually are usually downtrodden people that get their powers through some sort of accident of some sort. They're not gods. They're not from another planet. Usually, a lot of the biggest superheroes in Marvel are people who just got into an accident or volunteered for an experiment. Or there's some real grounding to all that. They go through real life struggles, trying to pay bills, trying to keep a window on your door that people keep breaking. You know, those
several times.
Those are the things that happen. But that's kind of a running gag in that comic book.
Yeah, that
window's always getting broken by somebody.
So, speaking of DC, switch gears.
Yes.
This week, we were excited for it.
Mid-season finales.
It's
tough to follow up after
an amazing crossover.
That crossover is pretty good. It's tough to follow up. Flash, I think, kind of coasted through it a little bit. They did some reveals. The name of the episode is Running to Stand Still. That was this episode of Flash. There was some cool stuff. Flash running across a helicopter was pretty dope.
Yes.
That was a special effect that I thought was pretty cool. Zoom had caught up with Harrison Wells right at the beginning and then let him go and wished him a Merry Christmas, which is like...
But see, what it did to me when I first saw it...
There's an undercurrent going on there.
It made me just like, God damn it, even Earth... Dude, you can't trust this Harrison Wells.
Yeah, there's a lot of humor throughout this whole episode, too.
Oh, my God.
Cisco walks in on Caitlin, and Caitlin on Jake Garrick.
Is real.
Yeah, that was so hilarious, dude. I'm like, oh, man, that's so funny.
It sucks, though. Now Cisco goes back to being alone.
I know. He's all by himself and sad again while everybody else is in love. He's just who are they going to bring along for him? Who are they going to bring along?
So, what they did, the introduction, the team up of the Weather Wizard, the Trickster, and Captain Cold.
Which doesn't last as a team up for too long.
Right? It's only a duo.
They break out of jail, and then the best, Joe and Barry are walking through there, and Joe tells him Santa must hate us.
Santa must really just hate us. Like, we can't get a break.
So Martin, the Weather Wizard, breaks out of jail, gets Captain Cold out of jail, and the Trickster. They're going to team up. Obviously, this brings Patty into the story, because I don't know if you remember this, but Martin, before he had powers...
Killed her father.
Killed her dad.
Yes.
He was dropping money off of the bank at some point or something for the company that he owned.
But here was the best part. When they tracked Martin down, Patty was so pissed. She ran into the Flash the first time.
Yeah.
Flash told her, look, don't do this. The second time, who developed the gun to stop the Flash?
Where was the Flash stopping gun? Where did that happen, and why has no one used it yet?
Until now.
This seems like a gun that would be stolen from police headquarters if you're a bad guy, right? Your first move is to steal that from police headquarters?
Which, I think Barry needs to address, why the hell is there a gun here?
Yeah, this was one of those episodes, and I enjoy Flash. It's a very fun show. They could have them just doing anything, and I'd probably be into it. This seemed like an episode where they used a basic bad guy story that was easily fixable to be able to move some plot points along. They want to move along to push it.
But it worked. It works very well.
Because they use the same wand that they developed for Flash in season 1.
That's causing a run back in time.
That caused a run back in time. When he finally gets to the point where he's free to take out the Trickster and Weather Wizard, I mean, it's within a split second he takes care of those guys.
Yeah, real
when
fast.
He's ready to, when he's no longer being basically blackmailed with the threat of all those presents that the Trickster handed out with all the bombs in them. So that's what happens. The Trickster dressed up like Santa Claus, hands out all these presents to kids that are bombs, that look like presents.
They were all going to kill about 100 kids.
Yeah, and the goal was if Flash tried to stop them, they're going to blow up all these kids. Well,
and then Wells, they re-engineer the drone to magnetize and pull all the bombs through a portal.
Which is whatever. That's a MacGuffin, right? That's just okay. Whatever makes the story work.
Whatever.
And then Flash is free to knock them out. But of course, the plot points they want to move along is they want to see Patty get pushed to the brink, right? They want to see Patty get pushed to the brink.
I really thought Patty was going to find out who Barry was at that moment.
I thought he was going to take his mask off, but there were too many people around, I think, to do that.
Oh,
'Cause I don't think the Trickster knows who he is.
No.
I like how about Captain Cold sitting, Wentworth Miller killing it. Captain Cold sitting in the living room, just waiting there with eggnog or whatever it was, hot chocolate.
Happy holidays,
Hot
Barry.
chocolate sitting in the living room. Oh my God,
Barry, you just come up in my house. First of all, Barry could never be tough. I don't give a damn how
It's
fast.
hard to be tough with a cardigan on. You know what I mean? You
You
can't
gonna
be
come
tough.
in my house? Come on.
The other thing that got pushed along, obviously, we see the introduction of Wally West. By the way, Candace Patton killing it in this episode
Oh my God, the
as
emotion.
Iris. Oh my God, it was like yes.
Let's go before we go any further. Speaking of Iris, Iris lost her editor to Ebod Thawne in season 1, which left her working at the Central City Press without
no boss.
With no boss. Well, that has now been changed.
She's got a boss.
She's got.
We know the boss.
And we know the boss. Shouts out to the homie Tone Bell.
Our buddy Tone Bell.
Yeah, shouts out to Tone and
Great comic, awesome
good,
dude,
awesome dude, good friend. He's been cast as Iris West's new editor. You will see him in the upcoming season of The Flash.
Yeah, he'll be playing Scott Evans, who's Iris West's new editor,
and potentially love interest.
Yeah, and potentially love interest, and he's got to go start shooting up there pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. There may be some chances to.
We'll see what happens.
We're looking at putting some guests on our show, and considering that Tone is someone that we actually know.
Let's see if we can make it happen.
We're gonna try and make that happen. So stay tuned about if you're a Flash fan or a comedy fan.
Yes.
We are working very hard to make sure that we actually have Tone Bell on a show before he has to go up and start working on Flash.
Yes, we are.
That's a good
So now
thing.
they're doing that. Also, did you pay attention to Zoom's costume?
A little bit.
It's not a one piece.
No, it's a two-piece costume.
It's a two-piece.
Do you think that it may be Barry Allen?
No, because Barry Allen, they show pictures leaked out of Barry from
I
Earth
saw
2.
that.
He's a nerd.
He doesn't have superpowers at all.
He's not. No, so I don't
because
think
Caitlin in that picture
is Killer Frost.
Is Killer Frost in that. So maybe in Earth 2 she's Killer Frost. Maybe Caitlin on Earth 1 doesn't get special powers.
I thought that too. Now, I'm still leaning towards Zoom is either one of the following people. I thought it was Barry at first.
Right?
I thought it might be his dad.
Right.
What if it's his mom? I understand.
Really?
What if, granted, everybody's like, well, there's no breasts, this, that, and the third. Look, that's what spandex tops are.
Right. They make Spanx for chest, don't they? They make chest Spanx?
Chest Spanx. they hold down your man boobs. So, like...
Moobs.
Your moobs. So, what would... it has...
That's an interesting theory.
Because I believe Zoom needs to be somebody that's going to throw Barry off.
What if it's Joe West?
There's a bunch of people who it could be.
I'm still sticking with demonic force. I'm still going demonic force.
You're going off the whole. It's an entity.
Yeah.
It's an entity, or it could be Eddie Thawne.
Right.
We
still
said
could be around. Still could be Eddie. Still could be a timeline in which Eddie has a problem with him.
We said a bunch of different things, different theories. It'll be interesting to find out when Zoom takes the mask off who it is.
Yeah. I'm not sure what will be happening as we go into the second half of the season. The one thing I know for sure is in the next episode, I'm pretty sure Patty finds out that he's the Flash, which will create some ripples in that.
Well, she has to become Miss Flash. She becomes a Miss Flash in a sense.
Does she?
Yes.
Is that where this show is going?
We don't know if it's going to go.
Just where obviously he gets married. He gets married to Iris in the comic book.
Yeah, but that they have to go because it's so easy.
Right.
Because it's so easy for the two of them to just be married. Right. It's good the way they separate them. Sure. In the storyline. Sure. So. Again, it'll be interesting to see what happens as this goes for long. Right.
Its older brother show had its mid-season finale also.
Yes.
Arrow.
Yes.
And an episode called Dark Waters, which was definitely not an easy walk through the park.
Hey, man, let me tell you something.
That was legit. That was a legit fucking episode.
Let me tell you something. If you are a fan of Arrow, you have been taken through the gamut of emotions.
And if you're not a fan of Arrow, this should probably be a good time to
play catch up. You want to get caught up.
You're a few seasons behind. You can get caught up. I know it starts. I know in the first season there's some episodes you're like, oh, this is some WB ass bullshit. But if you stay,
he's a murderer in the first.
I know, but some of the interpersonal relationships in season 1 where he's like reconnecting and
with
going
Tommy
through some of the drama about the relationship and all that stuff before he settles in here. But like getting to this part where he is running for mayor, the episode starts off with him having Now he had already said he'd already dealt with Damien Dark, and Damien Dark told me he wanted him away from from the bay. Yes. So what does he do? He goes and brings a bunch of kids to the bay. Why are you bringing families to a place that you know is a killer?
Family and friends day to
You know
clean
he's
up.
a killer.
But don't push me.
But you're going to bring them kids to the bay, and then a drone is going to come and fire on them, and the National Guard doesn't come at all.
No, nobody comes because everybody's scared of Hive.
Nobody gives a shit about what's going on.
So this leads Oliver to hold a press.
He told him not to fuck with the bay.
He told him. He said,
and you going to bring kids there? You should not be the mayor.
Look, Oliver dealing with the fact he just found out he got a baby that's a preteen. Look, Oliver's dealing with some shit right now.
Yeah. And in the meantime, Mama Smoke, Charlotte Ross, who I adore.
Yes.
She finds the engagement ring. She's so hilarious. She's like the good comic relief in the show. Finds the engagement ring.
But you see where Felicity kind of gets it from in a sense.
Yeah. Finds the engagement ring. I like how they keep reminding everybody that like it's holiday time, not just Christmas time.
You notice how they threw it in there?
I thought that was hilarious.
Because it's like, no. She's like, it's Christmas. Holiday.
I thought that was hilarious. They're at the holiday party, and you get surprised. Like
Curtis comes in with his husband.
Yeah.
And then he was like, it's my husband. Oliver was like, oh, okay.
He knew that, though. He was fine. He was happy to meet him. The funny part was Felicity going, even though I bat for the other team, I still know you're an attractive man.
You're attractive. You're attractive. So he starts Curtis's husband talks to Felicity, was like, yeah, you would have never found the ring, but they did it in souffles like straight couples do. She was like, oh, this motherfucker.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
She was like, you were going to propose.
Yeah. She figured it out.
And he was like, well, shit went bad.
Right.
Shit went left.
Felicity's mom introduces Lance as her boyfriend, which is hilarious.
And she was like, I just want to act like I didn't see this.
And then Damien Dark bursts through. And here's why I know that Damien Dark is not Felicity's father.
Because yes, everybody. So a couple people told me they was like,
because Mama Smoke doesn't recognize him at all, doesn't say anything to him. She's just sad that her baby's gone.
All I know is that he told Oliver so calmly, I told you to leave the bed alone, right? He was like, you basically want to call me out?
Right.
Okay, so
here's how we do this. I'm going to hit you where it hurts.
And boom!
Takes everybody. There's a couple things I like. John Barrowman back again in this episode. I'm happy any episode John Barrowman is in. The best, he refers to his people as his minions. When he's talking about Dark, none of my minions have turned up anything on him yet, which I'm like, yes, a man who understands he's got minions. Or
let's go to reference to The Flash when Joe meets Harrison Wells too, right? How Joe just pulled out the pistol and shot. So let's go over to Arrow when Lance sees Malcolm Merlin.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck?
And then Lance is asking him how he's gonna pull off getting all these people back, and he goes, I'm Ra's al Ghul.
I'm Ra's al Ghul. It's so calm too.
We find out what the point of the harbor is for. The harbor is to harvest this algae that they're making bloom with, which is a known drug in the comics that has killed a bunch of people.
Which they were gonna test it on everybody.
Right.
And here's the thing. The best thing was he kidnapped Thea, Diggle, and Felicity.
Yeah.
And after the glass broke, the canary breaks the glass.
Uh-huh.
And Felicity is like, yo, he's going to put two and two together that you're the Arrow. He like, don't worry, I got it covered. You see the Arrow, and then you look, you're like,
for a second, I was like, is that Colton Haynes? Is Colton Haynes
thought
back
it was
now? I was like,
speaking of which, he's supposed to come back.
I know he's coming back.
He's coming
back.
back.
I thought he came back this time.
I was like,
but instead, it
was Malcolm Merlin.
Who Lance at one point asked, you didn't bring any of your ninjas with you? Which is just, I thought it's a great line. And then Merlin
Paul what Blackthorn? What's his last name? I can't remember.
I think it's Blackthorn.
Blackthorn.
Quentin Lance.
Yeah, plays Quentin Lance. He's hilarious now that he's not as serious anymore.
Yeah, the fact that he knows everything and doesn't have to
hide anything
from anybody, I think that helps a lot. It gives him some freedom to kind of just be involved in what's going on. It is Paul Blackthorn, by the way.
Keep in mind, Merlin said in the episode past, he actually was afraid of Damien Dark.
Right, but then he fights him. They fight, and Damien Dark is handing him his ass at one point.
Because remember, Damien Dark was a member of the League.
He was the closest person to the previous Ra's al Ghul.
He was basically Rory Al Ghul. He was basically what Oliver was supposed to be.
Right.
But he was just too extreme.
Yeah.
and they got rid of him.
Willa Holland is a badass, by the way. Watching her in the fight scenes when she gets free, I'm sure there's probably some stunt double work in there. I don't doubt that. I totally get it. But her character gets to be a badass. Overall, here's the thing that's happened on Arrow over the course of 4 seasons. The writers have done a great job, and this is a shout out to the Arrow writing team, the Arrow production crew. They've done a really great job of creating different levels to these characters. Like when you see the way that Felicity is in the group and the way that Laurel is in the group and the parts that they play integrally with the whole Arrow team, it's pretty amazing how it all comes together. I like
the fact that, again, one thing people have to remember is that they're doing these shows the best way, which is they're building the stories.
Right.
And you have to have patience.
They're creating a level of television canon to work from, which I think is really cool.
And they're creating so many arcs in a sense where everything could carry over to something else if need be.
Right.
Now, you still got...
They finally beat Damien Dark for the moment, right?
Which they thought.
For the moment, which he did not.
This is why I got 2 arrows in the chest and an explosive arrow.
And they realized that they hadn't beat him, but then they go like the Christmas tree. Ollie proposes to Felicity. They get engaged, and then they are still driving around in a non-bulletproof car?
Yeah, I don't take no chances.
Why would you still drive around?
We're not even driving around. No, we're not driving.
Bulletproof car. Why are we driving at all?
Why are we not being chauffeured under tunnels?
I mean...
And then they get hit up, and this would happen. This is where it gets weird. The car gets shot to shit. Oliver the driver gets aired out.
Murdered.
Hey, the driver becomes jello in the front.
Yeah, there is no... I mean, he gets hit so hard, there seems to be no driver when he gets to the front.
Oliver jumps in the front.
Maybe a filming thing, but who knows?
Oliver jumps in the front, drives, but then crashes, gets Felicity out, who's been either shot or just randomly injured.
She's hurt.
So, let's go back to the beginning.
Right.
What I love what they've been doing in the previous season on these episodes.
The very first episode of the season started with a flash forward to the funeral.
6 months of a gravesite. Now the question, everyone's like, who is it?
Right.
Who is it that would beckon Barry there?
Right.
And then everybody was like, well, it has to be Felicity.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, but it's kind of too obvious.
Yes.
But she has to go in order for the story to go on, because technically Oliver is with Laurel.
Right.
So
I think that would suck if Felicity dies. Mostly because I like Emily Bett Rickards.
I love Emily Bett.
The show.
I would love to just meet Emily Bett Rickards.
There need to be more episodes with her somehow. Can she come back in flashbacks if she's dead? That'd be great. But here's the thing: they're wheeling her into the ICU.
The
ICU. So I want to believe that she may live, because normally when they show scenes like that, people get to live. Right?
Yeah,
I don't know, but somebody's gonna die, because he's gonna be.
What if it's Lance?
So that's possible too. I saw the preview of the next episode coming up. There's not a lot to it.
Oh no, she's
in ICU going into
somebody flatlines.
Somebody flatlines,
and then he ends up at the grave.
He ends up at a grave. Now, if all that happens to her, that sucks. But I'm not sure if all that happens to her. I know whatever happens, it gets to the point where Oliver's like, "I'm gonna finish this."
He
says, "I'm gonna kill him."
I'm gonna kill. He goes. That's at one time. He's like, "I have to kill him."
Yeah.
And the fact that he could, because it has to be her, because it can't be. And this is why I say it has to be. Again, everybody listening out there, you're like, well, it could go different ways.
Does Tom take over as the tech guy? Because every show, your show's got to have a tech guy.
You got to have somebody.
You got to have all these shows work the same way. You got to have a tech guy.
That brings Curtis down. Well, Curtis become the tech guy, and he builds his own suit because he has to become Mr. Terrific.
Right.
So it builds up so many different ways. That's possible, because without that, there's no reason for Curtis
to be on the show.
Right. So I can see that.
I'd much rather watch Emily Bett Rickards on this show than Curtis.
I would too. And again, Echo Kellum is doing a hell of a job.
Yeah.
He's doing a hell of a job. Yes. I love what he's doing.
Yes.
But bro,
I've grown into Emily Bett Rickards. I didn't know who she was until the show came out, I'm a fanboy.
I'm gonna tell you something. I just want Emily Bett Rickards to hear this one section we say. We love you.
Comes.
Yes, here's where it comes. Listen. I don't know what your life is.
Boy.
I know you're currently residing in Canada to do work on the show.
This is where we get letters.
Should you come back? Should you come back to California?
So many names because of this.
Should you come to California? I would love you to be my guest at a comedy show.
come on this podcast. If you are no longer on the
Shut
show
up!
and you come back to... am I ruining your love
Yes.
letter?
Yes. Let me finish my... This is my,
my bad.
declaration of
Go ahead.
love.
Go ahead and
I would
declare
love
it.
for you to come to the comedy show and be my guest. And listen, I know you can afford it, but I will buy your drinks. And they won't even be just water. I promise
That'd be
you.
great if that's what puts her over the top. Well, I wasn't gonna go, but he said he would buy my drinks. So
The next thing you know, she come to a comedy show. I'm taking Instagram pictures, and Bobby just sitting there like, that really worked. You're
Yeah.
damn right it did.
so that is it for those as far as the mid-season go, right? Flash will be back January 19th. Arrow's back January 20th. League of Legend of Tomorrow premieres January 21st.
Oh, 21st?
Yeah, January 21st. Legends of Tomorrow premieres.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is in. Man, everything is.
Those are on mid-season finale too.
Supergirl.
Supergirl still has this episode we're going to talk about now, and then one more before the mid-season finale.
Yes.
And
There's only one thing we need to talk about in this episode. Let's just be honest.
Hold on. Hold on. We're not going to talk about the end first. We're not going to do that. We're going to talk about the fact that Melissa Benoist continues to kill it as Supergirl. And as Kara Danvers.
To learn, to do the whole, she loses her powers.
Yeah. Which happens to every superhero that has special powers.
Yes.
They always have to lose them 4 minutes. Barry's lost powers. She's losing powers.
Oliver's lost his nerves.
He's lost his nerve. He was going to quit. Everybody's got to quit or lose their powers at some point.
Yes.
So she defeats the Red Tornado in the previous episode and pulls something that's in more recent comics for Superman. The rebooted version of Superman, if he expends his all of his energy at one point in a focus blast, he loses his power for about 48 hours.
About 48 hours.
She used that to defeat Red Tornado. She's in the same boat.
She doesn't know what it's like.
Right.
So she realizes she can get hurt. She cuts her finger.
Yeah.
She breaks her arm.
Here's where she's at her best. When there's a guy who's on the street that they're going to try and help, and she realizes that there's nothing that she can do to help him, that is Melissa Benoist crushing it in this
Yes.
role. Crushing it.
Maxwell Lord, though, is giving her the business. Where's she at?
Yeah.
I think she lost the power. Like, where'd she go? She ain't around here to help.
I like that. And then, the scene that juxtaposes Cat Grant in the office talking about how people have to gird their will up and be a hero while Supergirl is in the Supergirl costume but not with no powers.
With no powers.
Stopping a bad guy with just her sheer ability to talk somebody down. It kind of shows, this is what this show is about. The show is about your own self-empowerment, right? The show is about you doing for you and not always having to wait for that hero to come, even if that hero is going to come, which I think is a great thing this episode kind of gets across.
It does. It shows that heroes can have a heart and have to deal with downtime.
Right. And
it shows a lot. Jimmy Olsen, she still has
all her tender moments are always with Jimmy Olsen.
And the fact that she's head over heels in love with him.
Right.
But his girl is right there, and she's just like, I could kill you.
What's sad is the way that Wynn has been. It's a terrible term, but it has been because Wynn wants to get it on with her, and Wynn feels like he's been friend zoned, which is a shit term.
Which he has been. No. Well, it is a true damn term.
The word friend zone is really for a guy who wants to fuck somebody, and then she's not gonna let him fuck him, and so it's kind of a derogatory term, right? Like I don't know if it's always zoned.
Well, I don't know.
Which is like I've got women who are friends. They didn't friend zone me. We just aren't. We just don't want to fuck each other.
Yeah, no,
right?
that's that.
Which is way different than wanting to fuck somebody and then having them kind of tell you it ain't gonna happen.
I wonder now. I think it is kind of okay now that I think about it because you only hear men ever saying they've been.
Men are the only people who complain about that.
I've never heard a woman say,
right.
He friend zoned me.
And it's never like, oh, I'm so happy she friend zoned me. No guy ever says that.
Nobody's ever gonna be happy to been friend zoned.
Right.
Alex Danvers still is trying to figure out what the deal is with
plot B.
With Hank,
is really the A plot.
With Hank Henshaw, she's trying to figure out what the deal is with him, trying to figure out what killed her dad and this, that, and the third. She doesn't trust him, so she finally corners him.
Right. Well, Jem is a character who breaks free. He's got mind control powers.
Yes, he breaks out of the DO.
Crushing everything in sight, causing these guys to murder themselves. Hank lies and says that the devices that were able to keep Jem out of their thoughts weren't working. They've been broken. So at first she doesn't want to go out there and chase him, and then she's like, fuck it, we have no choice. Hank's gone. We got to do something. They get there. They realize those things still work. The neural blockers are still working. So they use those. She finds Hank, handcuffs him, right? Leaves him in a spot because she doesn't trust him. Goes and runs down Jem and is fighting him and is losing badly, and then Hank steps in and murders Jem. Just
mood.
Neck snapping. So if you think Supergirl is a soft show at all, they just murder the shit out of people.
So then afterwards, they have to have this heart-to-heart talk.
They got to find out what's going on because Alex doesn't trust him.
Now, she's like, well, what happened with my dad? She's like, listen, first off, Hank Henshaw, he's been dead. Okay?
Right.
He's been dead. He died a while ago.
Yeah.
But your father was a good man.
Right.
And he did this. Him and Hank were tracking down an alien, blah, 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 all those different things. And your father risked his life to save this alien's life. And, basically, I promised your father I will watch over you as my own child.
By getting you in the DEO.
DEO.
And making you risk your life all the time.
Basically, trying to do some crazy shit that I'm probably do.
But where else is he going to watch her, right? He's got to be...
He needs you right close.
Right.
So then she was like, well, who are you that alien? He says, yes. Yep. Who are you? He says, well, I'm son of the last son of Mars.
Uh-huh.
He says that line to everybody. I know everybody was sitting at the TV like...
I got chills now.
I'm the last son of Mars. No! Is he gonna...
And then he turns green. I was like, yeah, baby.
Turns out, say, my name is John Jones.
And I was like, that is the shit I have been waiting for.
If people don't understand, that is the Martian Manhunter. He has, the reason it is such a major deal is the Martian Manhunter has never seen the light of day in live action.
No superhero show, no superhero movie has ever used John Johns in it.
Shouts out to Andrew Kreisberg and Greg Berlanti
for making it happen.
For keeping this the biggest thing ever under wraps.
Yeah, nobody had any idea about the fact that Hank Henshaw was going to end up becoming John Johns, which I think is pretty wild. It's hard to do that. Of course there were rumors about that, weren't about who he was going to be and things like that, but still, the fact that they were able to do that, and big shout out to David Harewood too for getting the role of being John Johns.
Yes, you are the man,
that's
bro.
It's a great reveal. The fact he gets to be John Johns in all these shows now is pretty dope because hopefully he gets to cross. Now I really want crossovers. Really want them now.
But here's the catch. Here's the catch. How far do we cross over? Because now, this is the weird...
How far can we cross over?
Because here's the thing. We have Supergirl always mentioning her cousin.
Right.
By name.
Right.
There is Superman...
out in the world.
In the Arrowverse.
Right.
Because that's what Supergirl is.
It's all the same universe.
It's the Arrowverse.
The TV universe is all the same.
Okay. We've got Superman.
Right.
We now have the Martian Manhunter.
Right.
We have the Flash. We have the Green Arrow, who nobody wanted to give a shot, but it's like, we don't need the Lantern.
Can they, like, the way that Netflix is running with Marvel, do you think it's possible that...
A Batman series?
That Hulu signs a deal or Amazon signs a deal and runs a movie with these characters?
I think it's going to be too difficult with them already working on the Justice League.
It'd be so good.
It may not be a movie. I don't think you'd get a full feature-length movie.
I just want to see movies made out of characters I already see. That's pretty much how that works.
I just want to know what they're... See, the problem is you want to see Martian Manhunter, but you want to see him with the Justice League.
Yeah. You want to see him with the big boys.
You want to see him with the big boys.
Right.
And it's no disrespect to Supergirl, but Martian Manhunter is on the Justice League. He's in the Justice League.
He's one of the more powerful of the heroes that are out there.
Yeah.
So Supergirl, really, to be honest with you. She's got all the same powers as Superman.
She just hasn't come. And the difference is, people don't understand the difference is she hasn't come into her own. Like, she's always known she's had them.
Right.
And just Superman had to find out eventually.
Well, I think in the comic book series, obviously because it's been a mostly male-dominated medium, the need to try and make her look important has not been so grand in the comic books. But in the television universe, you can do that. And also, in 2015, you can do that. So maybe she can take a little bit of a brighter place in the world, right?
What are you expecting now from the show?
It's cool. Well, the show ends with Astra grabbing Supergirl, right? Her minions grab her. But I did see a little sneak peek into the next episode. Cat Grant's email gets hacked, which is the main plot of the next show, and Kara Danvers looks like she's a free woman. So I'm not sure what Astra grabs her for, but apparently she's free by the time, the episode's rolling. So who knows how that's going to play out. It's their mid-season finale. I'll be excited to see that and see how they line that up for the second half of the season. Like we talked about, a lot of cool people coming on next year. Talia Ritchie's going to be on the show next year.
Yes.
Wynn's dad, who is the toy maker, I believe, is going to be on next season, which would be cool. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming up with that.
Well, let's do some recap.
Let's get down to some movie stuff. stuff here?
Real quick.
Some movie stuff?
Some Thor news. You got Thor news.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett's in talks to be in Thor Ragnarok, that's a win.
Is it already in production or?
I think they're in pre-production right now because they're still, I mean, it's not the same people who are doing it, but since they're working on Captain America at the moment, I don't think they're into Thor just yet.
Okay, as I know just like Black Panther may get Ryan Coogler as the director.
Yeah. That'd be great. That'd be Creed is a great movie.
Yes,
so, really good reboot of the movie. Which
what's his name? Tom Wisdom. Well, the dude's playing Spider-Man.
Tom Holland.
Holland.
I read a bunch of stuff about Tom Holland. Shouts to Tom Wisdom also. But I've read a bunch of stuff about Tom Holland and why he got chosen, and I'm getting really behind it.
So
he's a gymnast. He's got a gymnast and an acrobatic background, which I think will make some of the physical stunts a lot easier to do with practically with him.
Okay.
Which I think will be great. I'm sure he'll be heard a bunch of times on camera, which would be interesting to see. Apparently, he's got his role in Civil War is kind of up for grabs right now. He claims it's smaller than people might think. He doesn't know what's going to happen in the movie. He has no idea. He worked on the show for about a week or two, or the movie about a week or two. No idea how that plays out.
Of course not.
But apparently, there's going to be some CGI effects to the suit. So
now, I've been hearing the big question in the movie is he going to wear the Iron Spider?
I think that's what happens. I think somewhere in the movie he gets the Iron Spider outfit.
Okay.
Because they've said there's going to be some CGI involved with his costume, which to me is the arms that come off the back of the Iron Spider costume. He's got those spider legs in the comic, which I think is part of that. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. And of course, there's been some more pictures of Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange.
No, as Stephen Strange.
Stephen Strange, not Doctor, not the official magician Doctor Strange.
No, him walking through with Baron Mordo.
Right.
Those pictures have come out.
Yep.
Which is, I like it because it gives the rugged, desolate, I'm trying to find myself look.
Yeah.
So I'm digging it. I want to see how they're going to go further with that. I like that.
Yeah. And the last piece of movie news I'm going to drop on you is from the same movie I've been touting since we started, Batman v Superman. It's really what's going to happen after that. Will Smith has said that he's very interested in being in solo Batman films with Ben Affleck.
So Deadpool
and Will Smith, Deadshot. And Will Smith tends to get what he wants.
You know what? I've confused so many names and characters this episode. It's been ridiculous. I just want to say for the record, I've been exhausted.
Yeah, this guy's been running around. The whole week he's been here, this guy's been running around. I haven't stopped
moving, so you guys got to excuse me. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And yet we're making a podcast for over an hour, and I'm still doing.
Where are you this week?
Man, tonight.
Do you know where you are after?
I know Wednesday I will be at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood at the 8 o'clock show.
I like it.
So yeah, I'll be out there. Everything's been just filling in right now because things are beginning to slow down in Hollywood for the holidays. It seems I will be possibly stuck in LA for the holidays, unfortunately.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I know. So
I'll be try to make the most of it.
It's not possible. It's not possible. But we'll see what happens. But anyways, man, it's been another great episode here of the Trusty Sidekick. Make sure you find us on our Facebook page, the Trusty Sidekick Podcast. I'm gonna work on getting us a website done soon. It's gonna take a minute. But if you missed all the previous episodes, we are now on iTunes. You can get all the previous 3 episodes on all 3. The previous 3 episodes.
But you'll be able to get this 4th one also.
And this 4th one to be up there too on iTunes. You
just got to search the Trusty Sidekick.
Yes, you do.
Search Trusty Sidekick. You'll find us on there.
Yes, you will.
Jay, what's all your social media stuff?
I was going to finish plugging
the stuff for the show? Okay.
Find the show on Twitter at Sidekick Trusty, and that was it.
That's Twitter, right?
Yeah, Twitter.
Sidekick Trusty.
We don't have an Instagram for the Twitter.
No. What are we taking pictures of?
We could take pictures of movie stuff and then we could, but I don't have the time.
No, we're not going to do all that.
No, we're not going to do that. Bobby, say yours.
I am at Mocha_Jesus.
I still can't get past this.
on Twitter and Instagram. I've been teaching people about the word mulatto lately. I've been having some fun conversations about it. If you find me out at any shows, I will break down for you why I like that word for my race of people.
My race of people?
My race of people. Mocha_Jesus at Twitter.
What is a mulatto?
Or Instagram, Bobby Hill Comedy on Facebook. And then Mr. J Washington on Twitter, Instagram, all those spots.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Periscope. I have not used Vine in so long. I might put it back on my phone since I got a brand new phone.
May have to do that.
I might have to, but I'm on all the social media sites at Mr. J Washington, jwashington.com. The calendar's kind of light. I'm still trying to fill it up for 2016, working on some things right now. Don't know what's going to happen yet. Haven't taken a lot of shows for 2016, as though the offers to go everywhere has been coming in.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is I can't take
Especially since I opened for you.
I like how you threw that out there real. You know, especially
Nice and subtle. Now it's on a podcast. It's got to be true forever.
Especially I open for you. No, it's a problem. It's just the fact that I have, with this agent now who's sending me on auditions, and I got my Chicago agent still sending me stuff from out here.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. So we'll see what happens.
It's cool, man. I'm happy for you. I'm super proud for you.
I appreciate it, man. I keep throwing it out there.
Stay tuned. We'll keep you guys posted on what's coming up, whether you have some future guests that are going to be on the show. We'd love to keep you in tune with that. But keep listening to everything we got going on here. Thank you guys so much.
Fine. Again, we're out of here. We will see you guys next week. Again, I've been your resident supervillain, Jay Washington.
And I've been your resident hero, Bobby Hill.
I wish we just found another way to not do this.
We'll find it. Listen, we're getting better all along, all right?
Yes, whatever. Till then, we'll holler at you guys next week. Take care. We're out of here. Peace.
Peace.